Mike McDonald.
I'm just not excited.
Yeah.
When I hear that, I'm just not.
I understand that, but
I don't know why. I just feel like
because they're not huge names. But you look at the ages of people. Lincoln Riley, 37 years old. Ryan Day, 42. Auburn coach, 44. Matt Campbell, 41.
Yeah.
Josh Heupel at Tennessee, 43. PJ Fleck, 40. Billy Napier, 41. I mean, coaching has gone in a completely different direction.
Everything
now.
has really.
Yeah.
Everything has.
It's gone in a completely different direction.
Yeah, I mean, also, you look at Mike. He's cut his teeth in some great places. He was there for Tom Allen and the rebuild that they did in Indiana, and they literally became a team that started bullying teams in the Big Ten. Like, they should have beat Michigan 2 to 3 times. They had Ohio State on the ropes, and he cut his teeth at Western under PJ Fleck. PJ Fleck goes undefeated at Western. With Corey Davis, still a tremendous wide receiver that played for the Titans. I want to say he plays for the Jets now. He's been in some. See, I told you, Sam's my guy. He's been in some places where he's coached under some guys that are doing really well now. You got to take that experience. And by the way, Michigan has one of their top 4 seasons ever in the history of the program under Jim Harbaugh. Guess who's the running backs coach? So that's what I'm saying. He has a lot of invaluable experience. Not to mention he played in the NFL and he's the all-time leading rusher at the institution that he's coaching for right now. When you start to break it down like that, it makes you a little more excited. But I do get you. It's not coming from a place of hype.
He ain't Mel Tucker to me.
But what was Mel Tucker before?
Can I just say something?
Oh, go ahead.
When they hired Mel Tucker, I just looked at him, and I just think he is like Dan Campbell. I looked at Dan Campbell, and he oozes football. Mel Tucker, to me, oozes football. He's been around. He's been in the NFL. He's been back and forth. I know he's only had a few years as a head coach.
Right.
I can't compare a Mel Tucker to a Mike Hart.
But you don't have to compare Mel Tucker to Mike Hart. You compare the other 8 names that he gave you. You look at Ryan Day. Ryan Day was given a team that was great. It's a similar situation to Lincoln Riley. Like, everyone loves the Lincoln Riley hire at USC. Lincoln Riley was a pretty much young unknown until Bob Stoops said, hey, you know what? This guy's going to tease. He got the keys to the kingdom.
I think I'd rather have Stan Edwards coach him.
Yeah.
He'd be a hell of a coach.
Right. You ever heard of Zach Taylor before?
No.
Zach Taylor's 30.
He still gets carded in bars.
Zach Taylor's 38 years old. He's coaching in the divisional round for the Cincinnati Bengals right now.
Kellen Moore's younger.
Yeah.
Kellen Moore's younger than Mike.
Kellen Moore's your hot coaching candidate right now.
So
what about Brandon Staley? How old's Brandon Staley?
He's a kid too.
39.
Yeah. What about? I mean, the list goes on and on. Look at Kingsbury. Look at
Sean McVay is 35.
Shanahan,
and he's been coaching for 6 years.
McVay
is 35 and been coaching like 6 years.
This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I mean, it's like crazy how young these guys are. It is totally going in a young man's direction. So if you're Jim Harbaugh too, you look at this trend. How Nick Sirianni in Philadelphia?
Yeah.
Here's an interesting thing, and I thought about it. And I apologize I didn't bring it up yesterday, and I'm bringing it up now. You talk about Harbaugh not wanting to continuously recruit players, because that's how it is nowadays with the NIL, with the transfer portal. You're basically recruiting these players even as they're on your team for 4 years, because you got to keep them happy, you got to keep them there, you got to keep them fed. But if you go out to Las Vegas, just look at what they dealt with this year in terms of undiscipline, in terms of what Vegas brings, in terms of what's offered there, in terms of look at the players that got in trouble. Whether it was the DB, that's off the team, whether it was Henry Ruggs. Like, if you go to Vegas, there's going to be that level of having to monitor that. And players that aren't necessarily disciplined enough to monitor themselves. That's going to be that too as well.
But how different is that from playing in New York, the city that never sleeps?
It's different.
Is it?
It's different. Vegas is a different type of city. Like, I partied a lot in New York, but I still got up and went to work and did whatever. But Vegas, it screams different. I don't know how to explain it. Like Sin City. Well, it's called Sin City,
man. It's
called Sin City.
Everything you want is there for you.
Everything you want and don't need
if you know what I mean.
Everything you want and don't need is there calling. I heard you snort over there, by the way. Everything that you want is calling you at all times. Here, I'm come get me. I'm set. I'm female escort. Come get me. I'm game. I'm video game, or I'm slot machine, or I'm blackjack. Stay up all night. Here, I'm the club. Come to this club where Snoop is gonna be, or this Hollywood celebrity, or this celebrity. Come over here, and like there's so much to do at all times, and it just screams and clamors to people that aren't disciplined.
Hey, YT Sparty put out a good one on YouTube. Brad Ausmus and Mike Hart. He thinks Mike Hart is a Brad Ausmus. Brad Ausmus is not the right guy for that Tiger team at that time. Do you think Mike Hart is the right guy for the Michigan Wolverines at this time when there's a guy that you can go out and maybe get a Luke Fickell? Let's just say Luke
I
Fickell.
like that comparison, but the only difference is I think one of the biggest reasons why Michigan had a lot of success this season was the connectivity of the players, the young players, being able to connect with Mike Hart, being able to connect with Coach Klink, being able to connect with Ron Bellamy, my former recruit trip hoster. Like, they can connect to him. Like, Mike's a guy, man. He's young guy enough to connect, but Mike's a serious guy. Like my dad said, Mike's a 55-year-old trapped in a 34-year-old body.
That's right. Stan did say.
Yeah, that's what Mike is.
I think if you really go back and look at Mike Hart and his career, even when he was in the NFL, every point along the way, he's been working towards becoming a head coach. Whether it's in college, the NFL, that's what he's been doing in studying and working to become a head coach. And if you go through that coaching resume, you'll, at least to me, I've never seen a player say anything bad about him.
Yeah.
And if you have if you're a coach and your players don't say anything bad about you, man, that's pretty darn good, man.
You know what Mike Hart told me when he was in college? Like, this is when he was still in college. Mike Hart, I was gone, but Mike had to be a junior or a senior. In fact, it was either his rookie year with the Colts or it was his senior year at Michigan. He told me he wanted to be the first black head coach at the University of Michigan. That has always been his thing. He wanted to be the first black head. You know what? It was just after his rookie year with the Colts, because he saw the NFL. He said, "You know what? I'm glad I made it. This really ain't for me." He said, "I want to be the first black head coach," and that's when he started hitting the coaching.
Was Dungy there at the time?
Dungy was still there.
Well, there you go.
Dungy was still there. There you go. Dungy was still there. Because I don't think Caldwell got there until
either one.
Yeah, you're right.
Either one.
07 or 08. But yeah, he basically told me my first, and I'm not the only one he told, but he said my job, my career, my goal in life. First black head coach at the University of Michigan. This is 2005.
Right. Cody says, Ryan, if Mike Hart didn't go to Michigan, would you even be talking about him taking over? The answer, Cody, would be no. And the reason I wouldn't be talking about him taking over is because he wouldn't be on the staff.
Right.
And the only reason I'm talking about him in terms of taking over right now is because he has had a year at Michigan under Jim Harbaugh with these players who have a relationship with him. And I think Michigan would ultimately elevate somebody on the staff. And if you look at the staff as it's currently constructed, I think Mike Hart is the guy that's better prepared than anybody to take over that head coaching role. That's why I believe if Jim Harbaugh leaves, and I do think he's going to leave, I think it's Mike Hart who takes over this situation, and you keep this train going.
Yeah, just pay attention to the things I said. Like, don't just look at Mike Hart as, running back.
I can't get it out of my head, little
running
brother.
Running back that went to Michigan.
I still can't get little brother out of my head.
How about this?
I can't.
How about this? How about Mike Hart versus Mel Tucker?
I know. I can't get it out of my head.
Are you ready for that?
I was thinking that yesterday.
I can't.
Are you ready for that?
Mike Hart versus Michigan State. As soon as you brought that up as an option, I instantly went there. Waiting for that.
Oh man, I'm
all
looking
right,
forward
maybe
to
I'm on that.
Guys, I do want to make a mention of this as well. The University of Michigan has agreed to a $490 million settlement in the Dr. Anderson case.
You've reached the end of the video. You know what you should do? Press like. You know you like the content that we have here at Woodward Sports Network. I'm Braylon Edwards from the bottom line. Subscribe to us right now.